Welcome to KSL Sports Rewind, the Football Award Show. Dusty Litster and Dane Stewart is always presented by our good friend at Heidemann Associates.
Yeah, that's right. Just a reminder, if you have any legal needs, the experts at Heidemann Associates can take care of you. They're a full-service law firm, and they're also a flat-fee service. They're not going to bill you for a ton of hours. They'll make sure that your legal needs are met. If you have any legal questions, you can learn more about them online at utah.law or give them a call at 801-472-7742 for a free consultation.
We certainly want to thank our other football sponsors who are part of everything we did at Odeon, Modern Missionary, Advanced Windows, and Igloo Outfitters. They were all spectacular with everything we did throughout the football season. But let's not waste any time. Let's get into our first award, our biggest award, Mr. Rewind. All right, here with our 2023 Mr. Rewind.
Thank you guys so much.
Isaac Wilson. Now, your brother, Zach, got Offensive Player of the Year. He was our very first Offensive Player of the Year when we were at a different place. We're at a new place, just in case Big Mike needs to know that. We're at a different place. Josh was our Defensive Player of the Year. Now, the reason you know that is because the plaques are promptly. Now, this goes right in the middle, and it's like, hey, here's a big one.
Yeah.
But here's the up one, right? This is the one-upper that neither one of them ever have. So this is one you can, like, sometimes at breakfast when Zach's in town or when Josh ain't out.
That's pretty sweet.
Now you have the championship belt.
That's pretty sweet.
You have the ring for the championship, state championship, and now you have the belt because you're Mr. Rewind.
That's actually pretty sick. I could wear this around.
Absolutely.
We expect you to.
Yeah. No, the other thing is you have to make sure on your bio at Utah, show it to the fans real quick. On your bio to Utah, they have to make sure it has Mr. Rewind on there because those jokers only put stuff from a fake newspaper. So, but there we go. So Mr. Rewind, Isaac Wilson.
Wow, that's pretty sick. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely, man. We can put them on the floor. You don't have to hold it the whole interview. But yeah, dude. So it's been a month since the state championship for you.
Been a while.
Yeah. You know, this year, the time flies. You got so much stuff going on, but a month gone, looking back on the senior year, man, what's kind of the things that hit your head and what, kind of be able to encapsulate what the senior year was for you?
Just looking back on it, I got to play with my teammates. I got to finish out my senior year. I had that injury, and just coming back and winning a state championship, coming back from last year, has really meant the world to me. And now I get to do it at the next level. I get to go up to Utah, hopefully continue the same thing. But just overall this year has meant so much to me. I've had my family alongside me, my mom and dad, my brothers, my sisters, and my teammates, my second family. They're always there for me. And there's no other way I'd want to put it, a way to cap off my senior year.
Isaac, obviously you've played at Rice Eccles, but your senior year, committed to the U. Was that different for you walking out on that field knowing that that's firm where you're going to be playing your college ball? Was that any different for you this year?
Oh, yeah, definitely, because last year I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe I could be playing here, maybe not. But definitely walking out there, I really got that surreal feeling that I could be here playing someday, winning games. Taking us to the Natty Championship. Everyone wants to do that, right? Yeah. But it really is a different feeling.
No, absolutely. And the team back on this year, and you talk about the knee injury and all that kind of stuff and having surgery and then coming back. That's Zach's stuff, right? Zach, everyone thought he was having his foot amputated, for heaven's sakes, his senior year. Kind of comes back. Do you feel like that kind of showed everyone around, like, I would talk about this, you need to be your own guy. To be able to show kind of those traits is that thing of, like, I'm hurt, but I'm not missing a game. You have procedure on a Monday, you play on a Friday. What was that like, and kind of you've been able to push through and do that? And not give your mom a heart attack because you wanted it?
Just like you said, I took it out of Zach's book. We all learned it from my dad. He raised us to be tough. Pain is temporary. There's no other way you could put it. So we learned everything from him. My dad taught us everything. He taught us be tough, fight through things, keep grinding, and that's what I kind of thought going into it. And how close I am with my teammates, I kind of want to play for them too. So that was the mindset for me. I got to be tough. I got to play. This isn't going to hold me back that much. So that's what my mindset was.
Isaac, I want to ask you a question. And hope this doesn't come across the wrong way because I don't want it to. Last year, you guys go down to Bishop Gorman, tough game. This year, you guys play them. You guys are scoring. I mean, a ton. You guys put more points on Gorman than I can remember. What was that like seeing the difference last year to this year? And did that give you guys any added confidence to finish out the Utah schedule?
I mean, it felt good because all of our hard work was paying off. And we really took that one to heart last year because it really humbled us because I'm not going to lie, everyone thought we were the biggest school in all of Utah and all that. So when we got humbled, we took it to heart. So we really prepped for the next year. I mean, we didn't get them this year, but just putting that many points up on them with our offense and Tate balling out. I mean, Jerome, he got hurt.
Yeah.
Same with Zion. We got a couple injuries, but just seeing the whole team rally around our whole organization just really meant it all. I mean, to put that many points up against the number one team in the nation is pretty good, I guess.
Kind of shows you your head, and you know it's interesting on this team, right? Because we have a few guys coming through today. They had a 10-year drought.
Yeah.
I mean, Corner Canyon's 3 years. There's been 3 years.
It's been forever.
So long. Lose to Lone Peak, lose to Sky Ridge. I mean, what in the world? But still, for you guys, add those chips on your shoulders. How much was that a driving force into this year too? Because hey, Gorman, we want to show how good we are nationally, but in the state, go back to showing, hey, Corner still runs this thing.
We had that mindset, revenge tour, revenge tour, revenge tour. Everyone was just saying it, and it kind of echoed through our locker room. And so when we lost those 3 or so games last year to Lehigh, Skyridge, and Gorman, we took all those games to heart. As you saw this year, we tried giving it to Lehigh. We won the Skyridge game, and we almost got Gorman.
Yeah.
I'm really pretty
third quarter.
sick to my stomach about that game still, but I wish I could have that one back. But just that saying, revenge tour, coming back stronger.
I am curious because you throw for almost 4,600 yards, 45.95. So we're going to round up. We're going to say 4,600. You run for 1,300. You have another 1,000-yard back in Brady. You talked about your receivers in Kerr and Jerome. This felt like one of the more loaded offenses that we've seen maybe ever. What was it like to have all of that talent around you? Because Corner isn't really known, I would say, the brand of Corner isn't really running the football.
Yeah.
But you guys ran for over 2,500 yards this year. So you guys ran the football. What was it like having all of that talent and being a key cog in that?
I mean, just hitting on all cylinders. That's really how you get a team going. And when you could throw the ball, they start backing up. You could run the ball. You could do it all. You could score however you want. And just having that this year, it really took a lot of pressure off our shoulders because we felt like we could score at any time, any place. We felt that no defense could stop us, and Coach Kerr was going to dial up the right play. And I feel like our offenses are always pretty good, though.
Yeah.
And Coach Kerr gets us rolling sometimes.
But we've never said the offensive corner is lacking, right?
But 2,500 yards rushing.
That's
on
Clay
top
Moss
of,
to Jordan with Austin Defenses.
on top of 4,500 yards passing. I mean, Isaac, you almost had 6,000 yards this year. Just you.
Yeah. I mean, teams start dropping 8 against us. What are you supposed to do that? They're only bringing 3. I got to run the ball sometimes.
Yeah.
But just having that second nature, because we're always so used to throwing the ball, being that air raid offense, having that second nature to just run the ball really changed things for us, and that's how I feel like we developed as an offense from last year compared to this year.
Do you now believe how fast you ran in your touchdown run in the state championship? We saw you after the game, like, I can't believe I ran that fast. Do you believe it now?
A little bit. I was looking back at it, I felt like no one was catching me, which is a good sign, I guess. So that means I must have been running pretty fast if there were cornering safeties running after me.
I do have a question for you. How are you going to help Dusty feel comfortable seeing you wear red?
Oh, come on, Dusty.
Hashtag Team Wilson.
Hashtag Team Wilson. I mean, we'll bring him over to the red. He knows it.
We'll get him a hat. Yeah.
We'll give him a hat.
Sure.
You better wear that hat too.
You give it to me, it'll be somewhere.
Somewhere.
It won't just be put in the dark. It'll be somewhere.
Somewhere. Better be on your nightstand.
On my nightstand? Okay,
games.
I'll take a picture. I'll send you a picture. I'll put it on top of the lamp that never gets turned on my nightstand. As long as you sign it, then it's on.
There might not be anyone else who can get Dusty to wear
It has to be
red.
an Isaac Wilson's Utah hat. It can't just be a Utah hat. It has to be Isaac Wilson.
You.
Okay, there we go.
I'll get you one.
There's don't know if you're going to get my son and my daughter saying they're actually, they'll say they're Isaac. They'll still say he's blue team. So. But, man, hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
It's been so much fun, and it's the end of an era for us, but this is the best way to end it, right? No more Wilsons coming through. We're going to miss a chance. We even got Dane to give you a nomination. I mean, this is a win for all of us.
Yeah, right.
So.
We're all Team Isaac.
But, man, congratulations. Isaac Wilson, our 2023 Mr. Rewind for KSL Sports Rewind. You know, Isaac, it's funny. We talk about the Bishop Gorman game, but that Bishop Gorman game was almost where we looked at each other and said, oh, yeah, this plays out the way it plays. Like, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think some people were worried that they lost that game, and I think both of us were glasses half full kind of guys. Like, they just dropped 40 on Gorman. Look out.
Had to lead the third, yeah.
And it's why I wanted to ask him that question. You know, you go back a year ago, I think they finished with 7, or did they get shut out at Gorman? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
But, I mean, it was hard to get a first down. And then you look at the progression the next year, and we talked with Isaac, almost 6,000 yards just for him on the year between throwing and running the football. And we didn't talk to him about this. He also had a reception. We missed the opportunity. But, man, what a year. What a year for Isaac Wilson. And I think Utah fans should be excited with what's heading up to the hill.
And he wasn't just in shouting distance. He was within sneezing distance of catching Jackson Dart's single season total yardage. He was right there. So it was a spectacular year. And here's how much you know that we love the Wilson family, which is I love the Wilson family. I am willing to wear red if they put me in the family section. So.
When they aren't playing BYU.
When they're not playing BYU. That is the caveat. Not the BYU game. Any other game, we'll do it. But certainly want to thank Isaac for coming down, making this all work. It's such a fun thing. And Mr. Rewind to us, that's a big deal for us. When we decide who's going to be Mr. Rewind, it is a big thing for us. And Isaac fit it what he did this year.
Yeah, he did. Spectacular year. Multiple, year starter. Obviously a great career, but this is not a career award. It's a season award. And look, takes Corner Cane back to a state championship, getting over some previous demons. That program hasn't been there for a couple of years, and he got them over the top. And his leadership was fantastic. Great year for Corner.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Isaac Wilson, our 2023 Mr. Rewind. Now we go from Mr. Rewind to the Offensive Player of the Year. Here with our 6A Offensive Player of the Year, Jackson Stevens. And Jackson, first of all, man, congratulations. What was an awesome year for you. When you look back, just over a month removed from the season for you, when you look back and you think about the senior year, what stands out to you?
First off, I felt so blessed to be a part of something that good. Really looking back on the year, it's like such an opportunity to play for a coach and a team like Skyridge High School. Being at Davis first years, which was really great, but seeing what Skyridge really is all about, I just feel so blessed to have been a part of such a neat experience like that. So that's the first thing I want to say. But yeah, these are, this year is just full of so many things and memories that are going to last a lifetime. I've made friendships on the football teams at the school, that are just going to last me a lifetime. I just couldn't, the whole year was just, a dream come true to me. Loved every minute.
Jackson, this is a state that put us on a lot of quarterbacks, have a lot of talented quarterbacks. You had a heck of a year this year. 53 passing touchdowns? Is that right?
45 yards passing.
Top 10 in state history. Like, when you think about that, how cool is that for you to think about, where your career has gone and being able to cap it off with a big year like you did?
Yeah, it's really good. The stats are it's fun to see them at the end of the year because it's kind of the proof of what kind of the work you put into and the time you put into it. So it's almost like it's really rewarding to look back and, like you said, this state's filled with a lot of dudes, Wilson and a lot of these other guys. Really impressed with Rasmussen this year, the PG QB as well. The state's filled with talent. I feel like sometimes even Utah's a little bit underrated throughout the country, so
I agree. No matter what former Division I football players say, the state's really, really good.
100%. So yeah.
Jackson, when you look back, just even at your time, kind of looking forward, what are the things you feel like you got better at as the year went, especially this year, right? This was kind of I want to say make or break year, but it's your senior year. You do come down from Skyridge, from Davis, and there's a little bit of pressure to you. What do you feel like you got better at this year, maybe from previous years?
I think the biggest thing for me was my progressions. Coach M really stuck at Davis. I wasn't really good at knowing what my hots and my checkdowns were, and I would force a lot of things. And so I feel like this year, knowing my hots and checkdowns and my certain progression was the biggest thing, just kind of protecting the ball in a sense. So I think that was my biggest step forward, is just general knowledge of the game that was instilled in my head. So
Jackson, as great of a year as it was, I was disappointed in the jersey number change. Give us the story. Give us the story. What happened?
Well, so yeah, I was. Do you want to hear from the very first one?
Yeah.
We want to
Tell us
know
the
what
whole story.
happened.
Okay, so sophomore year, I was going in after summer practice to get my jersey number, and I didn't even know like there was like a certain like line or order way to do it. And so I was up there, and my coach was like, "Oh, sophomores are in the back." So I was like, "Shoot, whatever. I don't probably get something too crazy or whatever." So I'm back there, and like I'm like second to last because it was the varsity jerseys, and I was like 38 or like 72 or something. So I was like, "Okay, well I can't rock 72. That's insane." So I just rocked 38. I ended up playing that year, and it kind of the story started. So the next year, junior year, I was in there picking my jersey out, and 38 was still available. So I was like, I'm gonna rock this thing again. I liked it. And then coming down here, I was just like, all right, I don't know if we can do it for my senior year, so I'll just do 3 + 8 = 11. So that's kind of why I chose 11.
Okay.
So I still kept some of it in there, but.
Did you ever talk to him about wearing 38 at Skyridge?
I did, and he told me I could rock it, but it was kind of I don't know. I don't think I could do another year of it. I didn't think I could do another year.
Well, man, it was an awesome year from you. Congratulations. You did just sign with SUU. Did I see that today?
Yes, today. Yep,
How excited are you to get down to Cedar City?
Thrilled. Great program, great coaching staff. They believed in me since day one. Love Fitzgerald. So their programs on the rise. Couldn't be more excited.
Awesome. Didn't go to Sin City. Decided to stay at SUU.
Nope, didn't end up at Sin City.
It's a really cool stadium. That's okay. We'll make it all right.
Yeah.
So, Jackson, hey, man, congratulations on what was a spectacular career, but really a great year. Jackson Stevens, our 2023 6A Offensive Player of the Year. Look, Jackson Stevens goes from Davis to Sky Ridge, and we thought this could go well. It went much better than we thought it could go.
Yeah, and I think, there were some...
Or maybe at least on par.
Yeah,
well above it.
There were opportunities to learn, right? I think that carried more of a share of the offense than he was accustomed to, and requires you to step into that and get comfortable with that. And I think as the season wore on, we saw him progress through that. But a young man who finished with 52, 53 passing touchdowns this year was fantastic. And I know there were plays that he'd want to have back. We all have those plays.
Absolutely.
Every time we record a video, I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. We all have those plays. But look, get Skyridge back to another state championship game. I know they come up just short, but man, came in there without missing a beat, having to replace a multi-year starter, McKay Hillstead. He gets them back to the same place they were the year before, and obviously statistically a huge year in leading Skyridge. Fantastic job in his only year under Coach Ham.
We did. It's spectacular and part of our Offensive Player of the Year. From one, well, we couldn't do one without the other. So let's go to our co-6A Offensive Player of the Year. All right, welcome in back-to-back years. Did Noah go back-to-back years? I only got one. Yeah?
I don't remember.
Take care, our 6A Offensive Player of the Year. Now he has another thing on Noah. You can go to, you're Utah Tate, and now you have.
Heard about that?
Yes, I've heard about it. Hey, you forget, I talk to Grandpa Hutch all the time.
That's true.
Or I should say, Grandpa Hutch texts us all the time.
What else do you guys talk about at Sunday dinner? Seriously.
Well, a couple of things. But no, but so excited. Back-to-back years for you, Tatum. Yeah. Now, you didn't quite get to Erickson and get back the family name on top of the receptions record for the year. That was a goal for this year. Yeah. But when you look back on this year, you bring home a ring. That's got to feel a little better.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like you said last year when I was talking about, the goals that I had, I didn't get them, but it was worth it. It's way better, ending with a ring than, getting, personal records and stuff.
Tate, you've been a multi-year contributor in this offense, and obviously last couple of years we talked about, you guys have fallen just short. And you talk about how great it is to end the season with a championship. How much of a motivating factor was that for this group? And just was there relief, or what was it like at the end of that state championship game to know that you guys got it done this year?
So much relief because, our defensive coordinator, Coach Gardner, was always talking about, we're the group that hasn't gotten a ring yet. Or, because, Isaac and me were, dressing as freshmen, but we didn't really contribute at all. So he was always talking about, what, does our senior group want to be remembered as? Do we want to be remembered as, a team that never won a ring or a team that got a ring? So we were just super motivated to get one this year.
After the Bishop Gorman game, well, even in that game, this team showed who they could be, right? You have the lead in the third quarter and things like that, but you get past that. Did that just give you, we talked to Isaac about this, did that just kind of put you guys in a different confidence level because the way the year before went? What was that like for you guys?
Well, yeah, it was confidence, boosted way, way big. We, after, the Gorman game, we were all okay, we got, a really good shot at winning this, and I don't know, just, we just got momentum from that game and just rolled with it for the rest of the season.
We were talking with Isaac and said, man, the options on this offense were just unreal. Obviously Isaac had a big year. Brady out of the backfield had a big year. Yourself, obviously Miles. There's so many guys on this offense. What was that like to play with so much talent with this group?
It's just like, no, like last year we didn't have a lot of weapons, or like we still did, but like it wasn't like Jerome Miles and like Brian Brady and stuff. So like just knowing that he has more than just like 1 or 2 targets to go to this year just really expanded our offense, and like I think it showed how well we did this year.
So the question is, you guys have an alumni game, you and Noah, and you guys have your quarterback and your receivers play 7-on-7. You know, is that in the works? You get Jackson Dart comes back. You get Isaac Wilson. You get Cody Hagan off his mission, and Noah, you and Jerome. I mean, yeah.
You can, if you want to set it up, let's do it. I would love to do that. That'd be awesome.
I think Eric, we can have a football field, right? Put that one on. See, done. All right.
Over under is going to be what, 240, 250?
We'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll get the numbers put together. See if we can get Jackson out of the sit for a weekend. But you know, when you look at this, I mean, how awesome is it for you to go through this year, and even after last year, right? Because of shoulder separation, but you get the offer in the middle of the year to Utah State. That's a thing, right? Because Noah, I know, battled, and there that offer never came. And for you, here it comes to Utah State. What was that moment like for you?
I was super grateful because, like you said, Noah, like he didn't get his till like the end of the season and stuff. So I was kind of like expecting that to happen. Like nothing was gonna come till like way later in the season. But then when it came, it just, I don't know, it kind of just made me want to work harder and like I don't know, just super excited too, and like just made me want to finish this season off the right way.
Did you finally tell Dad, hey, Eric, like, don't let these colleges in the building if they don't have an offer for Tate? I mean, did your it's
pretty simple.
No, I offered it at Sunday dinner, and it's never quite made it there. I don't know if Mom ever offered it. It's like, hey, these schools can't come in the building if Tate's not getting an offer. No? We didn't do that one, but it's awesome to go to Utah State, and you might actually get me to say go Aggies maybe once.
I was gonna say, so I asked Isaac this question. I'll ask you. You know, Dusty, he doesn't wear a lot of Utah State gear. So, how are you gonna help Dusty throw on some Utah State gear?
What size shirt are you?
Well, kind of depends. I'd say this, Isaac, and I'll give this to you. I will come in, if you put me in the family section, I will wear Utah State gear.
All right.
Okay. Even with the Utah State thing on there.
I'll need to get
I don't even know what it even looks like these days, but yeah. We'll do that.
I'll get you something.
Okay. And if you give me a hat to be signed by you, it'll go next to Isaac's.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take care of that one. But hey, now you got track season coming up. So now what's the goals going in the track?
Trying to win the 400 meter, the state. That's what I'm going for. Yeah, that's my best event.
So even Addie, gonna have the medals count this year again, or how's that working?
We're gonna try to. I think I'm gonna smoke her in it though.
Yeah, she's not here.
She's gonna try to keep up with it.
Hey Tate, what's your favorite route?
I like an over route. Over routes are my thing. I like over routes a lot.
You don't wrap every over route, right?
No, not every time.
There's a school that does. I was told that once.
Really?
Going to a state championship game, that they always wrap their over routes. Yeah. No?
Well, I mean, it is Christmas, right?
Yeah,
joke.
I got that.
Yeah.
That was really good.
All right.
Our 2023 6A Offensive Player of the Year, back-to-back years, Tate Carrick, Corner Canyon. Look, Tate, I love that kid. And you know, everyone knows my affinity for, man, it just sounds like I say this a lot. I mean, I'm Uncle Dusty, for heaven's sakes. And so when it came down to Tate, I was like, I'm taking myself out. And then when other people say, yeah, we should do that, that made me feel even better. So just so he knows, that's how that worked. I haven't shared that yet with the family. But it works well. But I do think he's our first back-to-back Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think he is. And I think, you know, we talked about in the interview with Isaac and even with Tate, you know, how much talent there was in that offense, but Rome missed several weeks, right? And yet they had Brady, but it was really, there was a lot on Tate in terms of that passing offense. And there were other guys there, but, you know, as they dealt with injuries and guys in and out of the lineup, he was Mr. Consistency and had to be, and almost had 2,000 yards receiving this year, another double-digit year in terms of receiving touchdowns, while sharing that load with the running game and the other receivers. Was a spectacular year for Tate. And obviously last year they missed him in that state championship game when he went down with the injury. It was great to see him be able to play the full year and play through that whole state championship game and helping Corner to get back to the top of the mountain.
Absolutely, and he's going to get me to wear Aggie blue at some point. So
yeah.
Tate, just spectacular year. It's been terrific career,
Yep.
An amazing year. Like I said, he didn't get the record back for the family, but he does bring home the title.
Yeah.
That means the heat's off his dad. keep the stuff off the front
For
lawn.
those who are worried,
Yeah,
you know.
all the stuff that was going on the front lawn and all the not really, but I did get it back in the state championship.
Yeah.
But a spectacular year. Congratulations to Take Care, our 6A Offensive Player of the Year. From offense, let's flip over to defense because this kid. Woo-wee. Let's get right into it. Our 6A Defensive Player of the Year. Here with our 6A Defensive Player of the Year, Jaden Mayberry. Jaden, don't call me Jay Sean Mayberry. Yeah. I'm getting that out now. And so, but Jaden, man, congratulations. We'll get you a plaque. I'll be all set up. But man, we look back at this year, 12 interceptions. Yeah. What goes into that? Because, and we'll go into another question, but yeah, what goes into getting 12 interceptions? Teams just don't watch tape, or what's the deal?
Yeah, I'll just say we watch a lot of film. So our coach Danny always tells us we gotta watch an hour of film. So if you put an hour of film in there, you know what they're doing. Yeah, see ball, get ball.
See ball, get ball. It's just that easy, right? It's not that hard. I am curious.
No false steps in any of those either.
When you think of this year, 12 interceptions, that's a big number.
Yeah.
What's maybe the favorite one or the one that you love to relive or think on the most?
I'll probably say the one against Corner Cane, the first one I had, where I took it back to like the 50. Yeah, I'd probably say that's the best one. It's my favorite one.
You picked off a D1 quarterback.
Yep. A couple of times. 3 times.
And you're not going to be ones in Arizona, going back to your home state? The whole defense got one. Is that why it's not a special to you?
Yeah, we had about 6. So we had 4 pick sixes too. So it was nice. That was a good game too. Yeah, that was a great game.
What's it like playing for Coach Denny? I mean, your dad played in the NFL. Glad I learned that. Yeah. Coach Denny played for the Bills, and this guy I watched and all kinds of. What's it like to play for Coach Denny? Because his defenses are, I mean, they're legendary within the state of Utah. Yeah.
Coach Denny, he's really smart. He's like, so he draws. We have a different game plan for every team we play. So he draws up a different game plan. It works every time. So yeah, he's really smart. Smart coach.
The Lone Peak defense, always stout, was again this year. When you think about this year, the defense, what is it like playing in that unit where, I mean, obviously you were fantastic with your coverage, but always really good at the D-line, the ends. They're known for getting ends out there year after year. What's it like being a member of this defense and kind of the brotherhood that is the Lone Peak D?
It feels good. Our defense was really good this year. Our DBs, our whole DB group was really good. We all had about 2 or 3 picks at least. And yeah, I think we had about 26 picks as a team this year. So getting pressure to the quarterback helps us get the picks too. So yeah.
So the biggest question I got to ask is, in practice, what's the completion percentage you on Jay Sean?
We don't really go against each other.
No?
No. I let him go against like Matthias or anybody else. But
did you say you let him?
Yeah, I'm not really trying to hurt his confidence.
No, I know.
So, yeah.
That's why we ask the big questions. This is big J journalism here. That's why we ask this stuff. But you get ready for the next year. What's stuff you're working on in the offseason? What does it look like for you as far, this, a lot of college coaches will watch this stuff, but when you're putting the work in, what are the things that you're getting ready for going into next season?
I'm just trying to get stronger and faster. Main thing, I just have to get faster, I think, to get more recognition. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. Yeah.
When you line up, well, actually, let's go this route. 12 interceptions this year.
Yeah.
What's your pregame ritual? What gets you ready to go out there and ball out on a Friday night?
I just gotta listen to music. I think that's what gets me.
Okay, who's on Spotify Rap then?
I listen to Apple Music, but
You listen to what?
Apple Music.
Yeah, okay,
but
you know what I'm saying though.
Yeah,
Top listen to. I listen to Apple Music too. Podcast on Spotify.
say-
Apple Music.
Just Lil Baby or Drake. Just those 2 people, really, who I listen to. Yeah.
Is there a certain song?
The only one I could think of right now is "Low Down" by Lil Baby. That's the only one I could think of.
Dane will be listening to that on the way home.
You know it. Yeah, I'm going to dial it up.
Oh, that's too good. Jaden's been. I almost made it. I caught it. It's like, yeah, we got it there. But Jaden Mayberry, our 2023 6A Defensive Player of the Year. Jaden, 12 interceptions. I don't even have to say anything else. That's where we got to.
Yeah.
12 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, that's won a game with what was going on this year
I
with
love
Lone
when someone
Peak.
breaks it down that way.
Right? Look, math is not that hard. Even Carbon County can do that math.
12.
A fantastic year. And I mean, the thing is, Dusty, you asked them the question, what, do people just not watch tape on you? Like, for crying out loud, why do they keep throwing you the football? And, I mean, see ball, catch ball, right? Like, that was his mantra, and absolutely loved the year that he had from Mayberry. And look, it feels like, you want to name our Coach of the Year after Coach Care. Yep. We should just call it our 6A Lone Peak Defensive Player of the Year, because every year it feels like every year it's a Lone Peak guy,
Henry,
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you talk about Coach Denny, and he talked about Coach Denny, what it's like to play for him. But man, it's just Lone Peak continuing to turn out top end defensive talent.
Certainly, and his brother Jay Sean's have something to work on too. It's gonna be good.
Jay Sean, I'm sorry, man. Hey,
but
what a duo, huh?
But you want to know why Jaden's good? Because he's got a brother like Jay Sean, and they got to push each other.
Yep. Yeah.
They say iron sharpens iron.
And there's even that mentality, right? Where it's like, no, I'm better than my brother. And even the parents are like, well, your brother will have something to say. And just that mentality of that competition, that level of compete, that's what separates good from great.
And Papa Mayberry can just say, hey, I'm going to call my good friend, not just Ray, I'm going to call Ed. I'll call Chris McAllister. I can call, you name the corner, Rod Woodson. I mean, you want me to call some dudes?
That was a deep lineup of guys that he played with. So,
yes, he did.
Yeah.
You want to call Rex and tell you how to play defensive? We'll get it figured out. So congratulations, Jaden Mayberry, our 2023 6A Defensive Player of the Year. From defense, let's go to the guy, and offense, right? Let's go to the guy that did a little bit of both. Our 6A, Mr. Two-Way. All right, here with Davis Andrews, and we thought of an award that we could give someone. Davis, you could have been our Offensive Player of the Year. Could have happened. You could have been our Defensive Player of the Year, but we decided to do is make our own and make you 6A's Mr. Two-Way. Awesome. Davis Andrews of American Fork High School. And Davis, I mean, you break your hand, man. I mean, it's been frustrating to think back on, but you've had some time now to kind of think back on this year and what it's meant to you. And you think back of making the move to playing offense and the impact you're able to make there. I mean, how much has this year meant to you?
This year was everything. Everything with my boys. I mean, I was lucky enough to play 2 ways in American Fork, and probably the toughest region. And I think it was probably the funnest year with my that I could even ask for. I went out early with my collarbone, and then I figured out I broke my wrist the same week. And it was a rough way to end it, but I don't think I could have asked for a better high school senior season. And yeah, it was awesome.
We talk about your impact on both sides of the ball. Curious, when you think, maybe one, where do you feel like you can shine the most, and two, what's the most fun? Obviously, you get to experience a lot of different things on the field. What's the most fun, and what do you really view as your strength?
I mean, I think the most fun is scoring touchdowns, obviously, but I would say my strength is just awareness of the game, and I didn't really practice a lot of offense. I mean, defense is my thing, and so just being able to do what was best for the team. That's what I told my coaches at the beginning of the season. I didn't want to do the same thing I was doing for 2 years in the toughest region. I wanted to do the most my senior year, and I feel like scoring touchdowns and being able to let all my other teammates, Jen Nelson, Jacob Birdley, Josh Andrews, I was just there to support and kind of get eyes off of them too as well. So yeah.
So when you talk to Witt and Scally, do you go, hey, look, Sione Vaki, cool, we can do my thing here. No?
I mean, if they want it, if I can score touchdowns and ride cycles, that'd be just as fun. So, yeah.
Well, defense scores touchdowns and ricycles too, right? You can score touchdowns on the defensive side.
If you just as much this year, so.
And if you can punt, you'd really get into Witt's heart, So, but let's talk about that. I mean, you had an awesome recruitment this last year. You get a chance to go out to South Bend, really experience I've been there. You walk back there, it's almost like you walk back into time, and you can think that all of a sudden the 4 horsemen come running out and things like that. So talk about that run for you, be able to go through some of the schools you're able to talk to, and what ultimately led you to Utah.
It was an amazing experience. I didn't think I'd be in this situation 3 or 4 years ago, and going out to South Bend, even going to UCLA, BYU, it was just such an awesome experience. At the end of the day, I grew up a Utah fan, and I just wanted to be where my heart wanted to be, and I wanted to be somewhere where I could play for the fans and for the environment, actually want to bring something, because growing up a Utah fan, I think it would mean more for me to put on a Utah jersey and be able to go play for something that I had season tickets watching growing up. So that was a big part of it, and honestly, the end factor for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You talk about kind of being able to live out that childhood dream in some respect, but you talk about an AF group this year that had a lot of seniors. You talked earlier about playing with Josh and with Jacob and just this group. What has it been like to come up through the ranks? And obviously now your high school career is being complete, but football team game, what's it been like to be a part of that AF culture and your brothers playing with them through your prep?
I mean, that's a really good question. I think everyone knows it's not one of the big transfer schools, and we had a bunch of seniors and everyone who kind of just grew up playing together. And I think I wouldn't have wanted to do it any other way and go transfer to school and win a state championship, because I've been playing with those kids since 3rd grade. And I mean, it's going to be sad leaving them and kind of go playing somewhere else. I wish I could play with them even more, but growing up with those kids, and Coach Beam does such an amazing job, and is a team environment, and I think everyone wanted to play for each other, and no one really cared as long as we won. And I couldn't have thought of a better high school experience for all my boys and my team. So,
oh man, congratulations! What was a spectacular year. A guy that you have to find on the defensive side, where is he lining up, and also on the offensive side, knowing he's going to jump over your head and make some touchdown catches too. So our 6A Mr. Two-Way, Davis Andrews of American Fork High School.
Look, Davis, man, this kid had an amazing year. We knew coming into the year he's one of the top safeties in the state.
Yep.
Right? And we talk about the recruiting to Notre Dame and everything else. They needed help with tight end, and Davis says, I'll do that too. And you can see that guy. He just wants to do whatever he can do to help his team win.
Yeah, you love that. And I think the thing that was maybe the most the biggest statement you could make was when they didn't have him on the field, it was not the same AF team.
Yeah.
And look, they've got a ton of talent on that AF roster, but you could see how bad they missed him offensively when they were going up against Skyridge, and even defensively, right?
Yep.
And so I think that is the credit to how big of an impact Davis was. And obviously, an opportunity at Utah, and we've seen them, flip guys on sides of the ball. He's going to play defense, right? I don't think there's any question there. But, man, his impact, and you see him, he's a lengthy kid, tall. And I loved a young man who says, look, that was my childhood school. And the fact that I have an opportunity to go play there, like, you got to love. If I could have played at my childhood school, I would have, right? Like, I think we all would have. And so you got to love that drive and that, passion for him. I think it's going to lead to big things for him up on the hill.
No, certainly. And you can see the whole thing. He's going to go on a mission. See where, he's going to come back. We'll see what kind of kid he is in. He's going to age.
Yeah.
We hear that's an advantage. We'll see how it works for Davis Andrews. But again, congratulations, Davis Andrews, our Mr. Two-Way in 6A. From there, we go to Mr. Unheralded. And it's kind of like we bunch these things all together. All right, let's go to our 6A Most Unheralded Player of the Year.
Right here, Jacob Erdley out of American Fork High School. Now, we can't talk, we talked about him a lot, but Jacob, you are our 6A Most Unheralded Player of the Year. And really what that definition is, if people don't understand, is guys that should have gotten more pub than they did. When we end the year and we go back and look at it, like, man, this kid deserved way more conversation than what he got. And, you added something to American Fork this year they hadn't had for a couple years, and that is a steady running back in the backfield. How did it feel for you to be that guy when all of a sudden this team takes off and it's like, well, it's because they can run the football? How much pride do you take in that?
Honestly, just running the ball, it always just seems like every time there's a good run, the sideline always just gets hyped, and it always sparks that little flame that we need sometimes in the game, and it's just so fun.
Jake, we saw AF early, and I was down on the field. I'm like, man, I swear everyone's got to be 6'5" to play football at American Fork. Your line, huge this year, very physical. What was it like running behind that group?
Oh, man, it was like a brick wall. I could put my head down and just end up 5 yards down the field no matter what happened, and it's just so nice knowing that a 6'5" tackle and guard are just blocking for you as hard as they can and being so physical. It's nice.
There's a couple guys. You and Dylan Story takes over for a year, right? Gets his chance, and people go up. And Davis shared with us, you guys have all been playing together for so long. How fun is it for you to be able to line up, say, hey, here we are, here we go, and then see the success you guys were having?
Oh, man, it's like a dream come true, just knowing you're there with your buddies that you knew all your life. And senior year, just that's what you grow up wanting to do. Varsity football, and it's just dream come true.
How often did you yell at Coach Beam when he would let Watts run in a touchdown down at the 1 yard line?
I wasn't too mad. It's just I could share sometimes, but
you just didn't want Dallin throwing a fastball at you, right? You want them, right?
Yeah.
What is it like playing for Coach Beam? Obviously he's been there a long time, and you guys make a nice postseason run this year. Very successful region season, knocked off Skyridge in the regular season. What was that like to be a part of this group, but also to play under Coach Beam at American Fork?
Coach Beam's a great coach. He's not also just a great coach. He's also a great mentor, he's always good at like teaching us lessons through like life, adding that in football. And he's just a great mentor, and he's just a great guy. And he's a really hardworking coach, and he's really, really solid.
Did he promise like a yearly dinner or anything like that for beating Skyridge, getting him his first notch on the belt against Skyridge?
I wish, but sadly, no.
Jake, when you think back on this year or even your career, what's that moment that you'll remember, or what do you take away from your experience playing football at American Fork?
Honestly, just all the practices, just hanging out with my friends and going hard, being physical with each other, but still being like best friends right after the play, but killing each other during practice. Just, I think that's what's like the most memorable for me.
Practice? We talking practice.
If you play football, man, it's always practice in the locker room and the bus. Although you guys' bus rides are like 5 minutes long, you don't get really a real experience. Some of us had to ride like an hour minimum. You know, it's a little different.
Hey, they came to Rice Eccles. Come on, Dusty.
That's true. But hey, Jacob, congratulations, man. It was a spectacular year for you, and we should talk more about you. But we did. I don't know if you heard your nickname, but we said, hey, give it to early and often. Right, get you going. But we certainly appreciate you, and it was a lot of fun to watch you play this year.
Thank you, really appreciate it.
Our 6A Most Unheralded Player of the Year, Jacob Erdley of American Fork. And I think for most unheralded, for us, we talked about Erdley and often, nearly every single week, but within the state, he still didn't get enough run.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is just AF. When you think of AF, you think of the great quarterbacks that have gone through there, and it's all throwing the football, right? And guys have gone to play D1 football, and so it's, hey, we're 4 or 5 wide, and that's what American Fork does. And yet it feels like every year we're like, well, AF, if they want to get to a Rice Eccles, they got to find a running game, and they found a running game this year. And what happens? They get to a semifinal, and it was because of Jacob Erdley, young man, 1,000-yard back this year. We talked about obviously the line was huge for AF. He talked about running behind him, but this kid, make no doubt about it, can beat you with speed, can beat you with physicality. He was electric, and I think probably the reputation of the AF offense was one of the reasons why he maybe didn't get talked about enough. Any other offense, this young man is being talked about on a week in, week out basis. We try to talk about him a lot, but he's a young man that people just didn't really know about. If you played him, you knew who Jacob Erdley was because he ran through defenses all year.
My favorite thing is he walked in the building. Now, granted, we don't get to see their faces a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's Erdley. He looks like a running back.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Well, congratulations to Jacob Erdley, our 6A Most Unheralded Player of the Year. Now to our final award of everything we're doing, but not the least important. Right? This is one of the biggest ones. And an award that I don't know that any other publication gives out. Is the Coach of the Year. Let's go to our 2023 6A Coach of the Year. All right, here with our 6A Coach of the Year, Coach Ed Larson of the Lehigh Pioneers. Ed, congratulations. Your second one with us.
Yes, thank you very much. Very surprised.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised. I mean, I know you're mad about the semifinal game, but all the other stuff, I mean, the fact you bump up, you lose your quarterback, you bring in new guys. I mean, Devon Eka goes from a freshman to a super sophomore and all that kind of stuff. I mean, for us, we looked at it. I mean, we could say who it came down to for us. We're no longer doing polls. That doesn't exist anymore. It's Dane and I and Vince, and Jeff gets to chime in if he wants to. But we looked and said, here's our coaches. And like, look, Ed beat all the coaches we put on there. Right, and we can give it to other people, but you are the Coach of the Year. I mean, what you were able to do with your boys. But congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I think it's a testament. I think every coach that's been in the business knows you got to have players to make it, and then you've got to have great assistants. And I'm very blessed to have the assistants that I have. Always have to shout out to my number one assistant over there, my wife. But that's, I mean, I'm blessed to be where I'm at with the staff that I have and the kids that I have. It's been a tremendous place to be.
Coach, it wasn't that long ago that Lehigh was, a 3A program, then a 4A and a 5A as the states continue to grow. Now, your first year in 6A. When you think about that transition, was there anything that surprised you about the move to 6A, or just kind of curious how you would maybe characterize your first year going 5A to 6A?
Well, I mean, we felt really well positioned just from this standpoint that a lot of our non-conference games last year, non-region, were 6A schools. So we felt we played them. And I think what ended up surprising me was obviously we have a great, tough region that we're in. But even the other region games that we added, Harriman and those others, Davis is always tough. We're just really, I think I was really, really shocked and pleasantly surprised. Man, every game, no matter what level you're at, is going to be tough. Riverton in our first round of the playoffs with his first year there really tremendous athletes on the field, and once they get it going, they're going to be a team to reckon with. There's a lot of great football players across the state at 6A, and even we came from 5A, and I just think the talent level is tremendous, but the 6A level, we just felt like, man, it was like never a week that you're going to take off with anybody.
I mean, you were 5A before, when 5A was the top classification, right? That's when you got to Lehigh, if I remember the timeline right. You were in the region with AF, Lone Peak, and everything. And that go-around was really, really, really tough. To go back into that, and your season, you guys kind of come up, just trying to figure out who you were. I felt like that winning against Lone Peak seemed to, maybe in the locker room, maybe I'm wrong, seemed to those kids legitimize who they were. Because then you went to win at PG, and PG had been they've been rolling. Yeah. And you go in on senior night, blackout, and go get that win. But that Lone Peak game kind of maybe flipped the mentality, maybe a little bit for the kids of like, all right, we can do this.
Yeah, I think somebody told me after the game, I think that's the first time Lehigh's ever beat Lone Peak.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's no question that helped us out tremendously from that standpoint. I think one of the things we fell into probably in all my years of coaching at Lehigh, this is probably the most injured-riddled team we had with a lot of players coming in and back out. And so that was a test for us to try to figure out, because we really, truthfully, we've been very fortunate not to have that type of injury bug hit us in the past as we did this year.
You know, Coach Dusty mentioned turnover at so many positions and having new guys have to step up, and some youth. And you talk about youth, young man like Jet and you. What has he brought to your group? Kind of first year starter for you, but gets this team to a semifinal. What was that like? What's it been like coaching him? And what's his ceiling?
Matt, he's a tremendous young man. I mean, he's one of those kids that I looked at and I didn't quite know a couple things about him. What was his escapability like? And what was his toughness like? Because he's one of those guys that gets invited to every 7-on-7 team in the offseason. Has a tremendous arm talent. But the question is now, this is his first time taking the punishment. And I was really, really pleased with how he handled that. He ends up with a PCL injury against Harriman and works his butt off to get back. And we end up playing, I want to say 2 games later, he's back in playing. So he came back a lot earlier than what everybody was expecting or wanted. So we're really excited for that part of him to get back. And I think that helped the kids know, hey, there's a toughness that goes into this game that you got to have. And I think he demonstrated that. And that's where I was most pleased with how he came through the 6A battles of having to handle the hits that he had to take.
No, I think it's really important. And then you look at some of the guys that came to your team. You talk about Devon Eka, got to contribute as freshman. Now, here's kind of a fun one for me, and you can tell me if I've just been wrong. Mace Madsen decides to play football this year. Yeah?
No, he was my sophomore quarterback.
See, there we go. Either way,
yes.
I loved seeing him in the slot, because you found a lot of fun ways to work around these guys. When you look at where this team is, you get to the semifinal, then you bring back so many guys, if you can keep them. Fun little inside joke. So many guys going to come back. How much does that kind of stoke the fire for you to come back here in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, we're really excited with the guys coming back. There's a lot of guys that finally have some reps under their belt. They know what it takes, and now we're gonna go to work and see how the offseason produces what we have. We got to get tougher mentally. We've got to get tougher physically. And then we got to replace some key spots. Even though we have quite a few guys coming back, we do have some key spots we do have to replace.
You know, Coach, obviously football's like big family, right? And I know you being the head coach, your name's out there and you're the one, a lot of interviews, and you're kind of the face of the program, but every good coach has a plethora of assistants that are doing great work. Talk about some of the assistants on your staff and what they bring. I know you've got a lot of guys that have been coaching for a long time, but just want to maybe give you an opportunity to talk about some of your assistant staff at Lehigh.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, maybe it was said enough, but I can't say it enough. My defensive staff is off the charts. I mean, last year to have 8 shutouts in a year was tremendous. They do a great job. Jared Harwood's our defensive coordinator. Courtney Overstreet's our defensive back coach. Ryan Lofton's our linebacker coach, and Keith Connors coaches our outside backers. And I have Paul Schwinke, and then we have a guy who's going through some health issues, and Jason Christian. So we brought a guy in, Damian Mama, who helped spell him out a little bit. My defensive staff is unbelievable. And then on offense, I have Jason Anderson at the offensive line, which to me, you got to have that. That guy's got to be rock solid, and I think that's we're very solid there. And then the guy who was the key to me coming to Lehigh to begin with is Cole Cooper. Helps handle my receivers, and then we have a kid that played at BYU and Utah and Holden Fielding that assists there. Andy Hatfield is a Lehigh grad, played at several Division I programs. Coaches our tight ends, and then. Out of the blue, I got a text message a couple years ago about Manasseh Tonga. He says, "Hey, we're living in the boundaries. Would love to help." Sure, let's go. And then my assistant head coach, who's on campus, and we're the only two on campus, is Dan Rice, and he does so much for me. It's unbelievable. And then I have to do a shout out to a guy who takes a ton off my plate, which is Corey Boyd. He's my DFO. And I just think people who become head coaches in high school for the first time, I don't think they realize how much work goes into trying to develop a program. And you sit there and go, wow, I'm doing this for how much? So I think it's you got to have people like that. And then my parent committees, I have a booster club that's fantastic, teen moms that are terrific. It is a community effort that requires everybody to make sure that the kids go through the program, and basically we give them an opportunity. If they're good enough to play at the next level, we basically say, and I tell my coaches, hey, listen, we got to stay on top of what's being taught at all levels so that we're incorporating what we can and what makes sense to us, so that those kids have a chance to get looked at and say, hey, these guys are well coached, they're doing the stuff we are doing at the next level, let's go take a look at these guys. And that's, I think, part of our obligation, other than obviously developing young men and winning, but you got to develop them to the point where if they're good enough to play, you're coaching them in that position to do that.
That's kind of why I asked that question. It's a lot more than just a Friday night, right? And there's a lot of people that contribute to having a successful program, but you're also known as kind of the great technician, offensive mastermind. I got to ask just a strategic question for you. Next year, are we going to see any fake 23 blast with a backside George reverse out of Lehigh?
That's going to depend on my off-season workout,
Until Petey needs to run like his life depends on it. Only if that's where the pigeon is that he's throwing a rock at.
Exactly. Well, next time you guys do a game, just remind me in pregame and we'll put it in.
Okay, there we go.
Done.
We'll get it in.
I think we can make something happen. Well, Ed, hey, we certainly appreciate you.
Yeah.
It was such a terrific year, and so much fun watching your team.
Well, great honor, in spite, not in spite of, but I'm just, with all the other coaches that were in play for this, I am humbled and grateful.
Absolutely. Well, our 2023 6A Coach of the Year, Coach Ed Larson of Lehigh High School. Now, it's interesting. For Ed Larson, he's won a state title and he's not been our Coach of the Year. Last year was a little bit of stuff because he wasn't on our poll. That's why we pulled the polls down. Because we kind of knew where we would go with those things, and that we're just going to go through it. There is no doubt when this season ended, we were down to a couple coaches. It took one data point from us of looking at having our conversations. Like, no, it's Ed. Ed is our 6A Coach of the Year. What he was able to accomplish is all he graduated, go up a classification, still stay in the toughest region, win a couple of games, tough games within that region. Well, 3, but he wins 2 tough ones. The Lone Peak game where they came back, nearly got that game back against Lehigh, and then going at PG when PG was rolling.
Just coming off the Skyridge win.
They're rolling, and they go in there and go beat them at PG. So it was a no-brainer that Ed is the 6A Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think a fantastic job, and we shared this with him off camera, but it was, Lehigh making the move up. Didn't quite know how that would go with all the talent graduating. Was it going to take a year or two? They welcomed in so many new guys. We're going to have big impacts, and Ed got that team up and going. And even, week 1, they get a win against Davis, who ended up being the Region 1 champion, had a great year in the darts, and that win looked stronger and stronger over the course of the year. And then they beat him again in the playoffs.
And worse.
And they get to a semifinal. In his first year in 6A, with having to replace and rebuild, not rebuild his program, but replace so much talent. A heck of a job for Coach Larson. And last year they won a 5A state championship. And look, he had a heck of a year last year, but in my mind, Coaching is about development and getting kids in the right spot at the right time and helping them teach the game and understand the game. And the job he did this year of making that transition successful for Lehigh and get a good foundation, they could compete for a region championship next year.
No, absolutely.
That speaks
That's
to
where
the
it
job
goes.
he did.
And it did. And you got part two, because you could say, hey, maybe Aaron, Beam and granted. We
Yep.
thought Beam would be at the semifinals. Hey, if Beam gets to the state championship game, it may change that a little
Yeah.
bit and different things for us where this goes. But it was very much of like, hey, we expect AF to get to
Yep.
the state semifinals. We expect Corner. We expected Skyridge. Like, hey, who's that fourth team? And when you get to that team, it's like, I don't know if Lehigh will get back. Maybe they'll compete, they'll have a shot.
Yep.
But then they get there, it's like, yeah, I don't care how the semifinal game went.
Yeah.
Because exactly where it went was the rest of the way earned him this award.
Yeah, it was an impressive year.
Absolutely. Well, we hope you enjoyed all the awards we had this year. Congratulations to Ed Larson, our 6A Coach of the Year. But for the rest of our awards, Mr. Rewind, the Offensive Players of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and others, an absolute blast for us. One of our favorite days, because we get a chance to see these kids, talk to them, meet their parents, talk with them. I look forward to this video every year.
You know, and it's hard because there are so many other kids that we could have awarded and we'd love to award, right? And it's hard to limit it to just, a handful of kids out of a classification. And you talk about Coach Beam. I mean, Brett Peary, what a job he did coaching Davis. And you can look at a guy like Bodie Sparrow, who he's not going to be unheralded for long, right? You can look at a guy like Cash Gates or Bessinger, who they could have been Offensive Players of the Year. You can look at a guy like Payne at Weber, could have been a Defensive Player of the Year. There's so much talent. Freddie Ta'i at Harriman could have been an unheralded. There's so many guys that we could have talked to. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough time to go through it all. But great careers. It was another fantastic season this year. Love the storylines. We love that we're able to cover this and bring this to you. And appreciate your sponsorship here and following us. But football season's over, Dusty. Only 8 more months to go. It'll be back.
It'll be a long time. But we certainly loved it. It was a great way to we love this around Christmas time. Put a bow on football season, go through the awards, an absolute blast. I want to congratulate all those award winners and thank all those families that helped make this work. For Vince Francis and Dane Stewart, I'm Dusty Litster. Thanks for joining us and for watching this 6A Football Awards Show.